2, One Man's Collection. Today I'm looking at the magazine number 41 for the Formula 1 car collection. This is the March 7/11 from as driven by Ronnie Peterson in 1971. Now we do have a 143 scale diecast car in this, and I think it looks absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to put it aside and we'll come back to it. But we will go briefly through this magazine. If you do want to read some of this in more detail, you will have to pause and read, because I'm going to just skip through and give you a brief overview. So the same with all these magazines. Season is 1971. The technical focus is on the March 7/11 car. The team obviously is March Engineering. The circuit for this particular magazine is the Zolder circuit, Belgian, and the story so far is the 1990 Senna second title. So, new blood, hot on the heels of Jackie Stewart, were a number of young drivers of undoubted talent. Emerson Fittipaldi was developing under the wing of Colin Chapman, while at the same time young Swede Ronnie Peterson was making a name for himself with the March team. The March 7/11 Ronnie Peterson. What was this? 1971? Okay. Actually, before I was born. Just. Emerson Fittipaldi pictured in the 72 in Austria 1971 season was a disappointing one for the Brazilian driver. That's the one at the top there. Lotus turbine engine. Always looking for new technical avenues to explore, Colin Chapman launched the Lotus 56B in 1971, a four-wheel drive car powered by a Pratt & Whitney gas turbine engine, derived from the Lotus 56 prepared for Indianapolis. The 56B proved difficult to get right. Emerson Fittipaldi raced in the Italian Grand Prix, plus a couple of other non-championship races in Britain, Brands Hatch and Silverstone. Gas turbine. It's a little helicopter engine or something. March Alfa Romeo. It's the German Grand Prix. And Nanni Galli is at the wheel. The March Alfa Romeo 7/11. Just behind the driver's head on the bodywork of the engine car is a blue and white emblem of Auto Delta. Over the course of 1971, Galli used a V8 engine from the Alfa Romeo 33.3 and the March on 3 occasions. However, the results of the Anglo-Italian car never lived up to the illustrious Alfa Romeo name. Okay. Interesting with the wing that actually poked up like that. This is back in the day where they actually had their own design. They were allowed to actually design and try lots of different things, and it was awesome. We've got some ridiculous cars, but it was awesome that they were different. Not so much now. Thanks to his formidable performances in the mid part of the campaign, Jackie Stewart was crowned world champion at Monza. He was forced to retire, and so didn't play part in the memorable and spectacular 5-car sprint for the flag that defined the 1971 Italian Grand Prix. 5 drivers, Peter Gethin, Ronnie Peterson, Francis Sevet, Mike Howard, and Howard Gainley were involved in a blanket finish, crossing the line within the space of just 0.61 seconds. Dang. That's a photo finish, isn't it? Technical focus. Unusual aerodynamic configuration of the March 7/11 without the oval-shaped front wing was used at Monza. The Italian circuit was one of the fastest World Championship tracks at the time, and the wing was removed to reduce aerodynamic resistance. Yeah. There it is there without the front and rear wing. Actually, it's got side pods. An example of the 7/11 chassis, which had a prototype 33.3 Alfa Romeo V8 engine, the car powered the Italian engines were driven by Nanni. Yeah, we actually talked about that before. And Ronnie Peterson. Okay. Used it just once at the French Grand Prix. How's that changing the car as you go along? If only. So this particular one's got a V90 degree Ford Cosworth DFV 2.993cc V8. 440 horsepower. Yeah. Lots of them had the Ford Cosworth motor, I remember. All right, the team from 78-92, March Engineering, a giant among the smaller squads. After leaving the World Championship stage at the end of 1977, the British team made a brief comeback in 81 and 82. However, a tie-up with Japanese sponsor Leighton House meant the team were back on the grid in 87. They then withdrew from racing at the end of 92. The old March. Yeah, okay. After leaving the World Championship stage at the end of 77, it devoted its time in the European F2 Championship, which they won in 78, in 79 and in 82. So 78, 79 and 82. Over the years, the team from Bicester, probably, designed and built single-seaters for all formulas, but all two-seater sports cars and endurance races, but also two-seater sports cars and endurance races for the North American Can-Am and IMSA series. I did not know that. March. Yeah, okay. The 1992 Hungarian March. There we go. A photograph of the March Leighton House team in 1988, the year in which the 881 racer was created by young designer Adrian Newey. The car, very different from others at the time, stood out despite the uninspiring Judd engine, with Ivan Capelli twice finishing on the podium in Belgium and Portugal. But the crowning glory for both Capelli and Leighton House was the French Grand Prix in 1990, in which he finished in second place after being out in the lead for much of the race. Yeah, good on Adrian Newey, hey? He's got some pretty awesome designs there. All right, this one, the Zolder circuit, is the track for this particular magazine. Each magazine has a different track. So Zolder, the Belgium Grand Prix, memory of Gilles Villeneuve. Maximum speed 300 kilometers an hour, average speed 200, 1 minute 17. Also, moving on, Senna second title, an eye for an eye. The battle between Senna and Prost, who had moved to Ferrari, played out again in 1990. The duel led up in the whole campaign. The end result may have been reversed, but the denominant, was essentially the same as the previous seasons, with another dubious clash grabbing the headlines. So Ayrton Senna with 78 points, Alain Prost 71. What's he driving there? The 641 or F190. Yep. Nelson Piquet in the Benetton Ford, 43 points, a fair way back. Gerhard Berger also on 43 points in the McLaren Honda. Nigel Mansell in the Ferrari at 37 points. What a shame we lost Senna, hey? And McLaren Honda got 121 points that year. Ferrari 110, Benetton at 71. All right, moving on to the next magazine will be Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari SF15T from 2015. And John Surtees' 1967 Honda RA300. Awesome, another old one. I do really like these old 60s and 70s Formula Ones. I'm glad I got the whole collection, all 200 magazines. Let's take a look at the car in the close camera here. Lots of sponsorship on this one. Firestone tires. Got our Ford Cosworth. I guess that's Ford upside down. Yep, okay. Having a look inside, can we see? Yeah, got a seatbelt in there. And seatbelts on the seat in blue. Very good. There's that wing for you. Very good. Front suspension. They don't just whack it on. They've actually got some a bit more detail in there, so that's good. Do need to be careful cleaning these with the mirrors and stuff. Don't want to knock them off. Alright, the rear is held together with a framework there. Have a look underneath here. There we go. I think this is actually really well made, especially for the price. I'm going to put this on a turntable so you can have a closer look without my hands getting in the way. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back with magazine number 42 next week. Cheers. Thank you. Bye.